work on the pec as well. The pec can get tight from all the isometric strength of having to hold the paddle up. So we're going to stretch out the clavicular fibers of the pec here. Hey guys, Dr. Will here from Miami Spine and Performance. We're here for part 2 of treating a PPA Pickleball Pro. In the last episode, we did some adjusting with Juan. We opened up his neck, his lower back, his upper back. Now I'm going to show you guys how I use active release technique to help with some of the muscles in his shoulders and in his hips. So the first protocol we're going to do is going to be with his shoulder. He's been complaining of some right shoulder issues, particularly at the kitchen line hitting volleys. It requires a lot of endurance and it can really fatigue the rotator cuff. So I'm going to have you totally relax. We're going to work on kind of the lat and the subscap here. We're just going to stretch it up overhead just like this. This is going to give him a little bit more range of motion. It's also going to help open up the nerves through his arm so he's not going to get quite as fatigued. You doing okay there, Juan? Yeah. I'm going to work from the lat up into the subscap. This is a protocol that I do a lot with my pickleball players, a lot with my pitchers, a lot with my tennis players, a lot with my golfers who suffer from these types of shoulder injuries. Sometimes this area can be a little bit tender. And we're going to work on the pec as well. The pec can get tight from all the isometric strength of having to hold the paddle up. So we're going to stretch out the clavicular fibers of the pec here. Just going to open them up. And what can happen is, if you're playing a lot, these muscles can tend to get tight. And when they get too tight, that can put some pressure on your rotator cuff and you could end up potentially with an injury. So we want to make sure that he stays injury-free, not only for his competitive season, but also so he can continue to teach. Good. Now we're just going to work some shoulder rotation. I'm just going to stretch his shoulder back like this. You can feel a little bit of clicking in there. That's a little bit of instability. So in a later section of the visit, I'm going to show you guys some strengthening exercises I'm going to do with Juan to help make his shoulder a little bit stronger. I'm going to make sure the shoulder has good internal rotation, especially for those backhands. You have to have your shoulder internally rotated like this to punch the backhands. I'm going to make sure you have good mobility here. He's got some tightness in his front delt, so we're just going to clean this up a little bit. Feel sore in there? Okay, now I'm going to show you guys how I'm going to work Juan's hips today. Obviously, for the majority of athletes, hip mobility is absolutely paramount, specifically with pickleball. Juan is a pretty tall guy, and so for him to get to these low shots, for his dinking and for drop shots and things like that, he's going to have to get really low and have a lot of good hip mobility. So I'm going to show you guys how I typically am going to stretch him. So we're going to start with a good little hamstring stretch here, check his length. This isn't too bad, but of course it could be better. And you guys can do this stretch on your own as well. If you have a strap, if you have a partner, you can prop your leg up on a bench. Got some good hamstring mobility here. Right from the hamstring, we're going to go into some of the deep groin muscles and some of the high hamstring muscles. And a good stretch in here. This is a very important piece of hip mobility, is his ability to have his legs wide like this. So we can cover a lot of ground on the court, but again, also be able to get low for some of those resets. Bend the knee here. I'm going to hit more of the high groin muscles here. Again, another really important area for you all to be stretching, whether you're playing pickleball, whether you're playing basketball. The more limber that your hips are, the less you're going to feel your back cramp up while you're playing sports. From there, I'm going to take his leg across. We're going to work the big 6 hip rotators here. And when I'm stretching an athlete, I like to kind of oscillate in and out instead of just holding a stretch, because their sport is active. They're required to move. I like to keep the stretches kind of moving like this. And last, I'm going to bring the leg across and really stretch out the glute here. Sometimes I'll do it with a straight leg, sometimes I'll do it with a bent leg. Really open up the lateral hip capsule, which again, this is going to also free up a lot of tension in his lower back. We're going to do the same thing with the other side. So both hamstrings are fairly tight. So we're just going to take them through a couple repetitions. Also, by moving through the stretch, we're able to get some extra blood flow into the area. So this is a great way to warm an athlete up before they go out and play. Or if you're working with them after they play, you can do more of a static stretch. And we're going to swing the leg out like so. This is going to hit kind of high hamstring, low groin. So if you're somebody that kind of pulls your groin sometimes, you have difficulty getting low for dinks or for resets, this is a really, really good stretch for you to do. Same thing with this one. I'm going to bring the knee up and do a little bit of kind of an oscillating frog butterfly position here. It's a great one to do on your own. It'll help open up the inside of the hip. Back to the big 6 rotators here. Now this is where you can feel a lot of tightness with him. Because he's using his hips all day, he's on his feet, he's doing a lot of rotational movements, he's having to get low. These hip rotators are really, really tight. So likely what I would give him to take home would be some kind of seated pigeon stretch to help open up his hips. And when we go through some of his physical therapy exercises, I'll show you guys exactly what I'm going to give him to take home. Last but not least, open up the whole hamstring, glute, really kind of let his lower body unwind here. I also like to use the stretching before active release technique because in ART, he's going to have to get to end range for us to get all the way into the muscle, and so this is almost a good way of warming him up for the active release. Okay, perfect, Juan. Now you're going to lie on your left side, and we're going to go through those movements, okay? So the first one is where your leg's going to come straight down and across, okay? Ready? Go for it. Good. Give a little pause there at the end. Breathe. Good. And again. Perfect. Now we'll go through that hip rotation. So you're just going to lift your foot up, keeping your knees together. And in Juan's case, this is what he really needs, is he really needs these hip rotators to be unglued. Gotten really, really tight over time. Just lifetime of being an athlete, these muscles tend to get tight and are a little bit sore usually. Good. Now the Psoas, so I'm going to have you bring your knee up and then extend your leg back behind you. Good. Exhale. And again. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Last one. Exhale. Good. Switch sides. Doing okay so far?
Yeah.
Okay, now with the top leg straight, I'm going to have you swing the leg down and across. Exhale. Good. Again, down and across. Good. One more. Exhale. Good. Now let's go ahead and rotate the foot up towards the ceiling. Good. Keep breathing. For him, this is really an area that we want to work on. Perfect. Last one. Bring the knee up towards your chest and then extend back behind you. Exhale. Good. Inhale. Exhale. Good. Inhale. Exhale. 2 more. Inhale. Exhale. Last one. Inhale. Exhale. Good. Okay, let's go face up. All right, guys, so there you have it. That's a kind of an abbreviated version of a stretching and active release technique session with PPA Pro Juan Benitez. Remember, guys, at my office, I'm not just doing only traditional chiropractic. That's just one piece of the puzzle. So what you guys are going to see in the next 2 parts is we're going to work on Juan's shoulder a little bit more using shockwave therapy, and then I'm going to show you guys some of the take-home exercises that I'm going to give him to use as a warm-up and to help rehabilitate his body. So thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe.